All right, welcome back. We continue our discussion looking at how will the value-added tax impact on the general public, considering that 30.5 million South Africans are already declared poor by the findings of the report that was released by Stats SA last year. Now, with us is SAF2 leaders Vavi and political economists from the School of Economic and Business Sciences at VAT talking to us about this discussion. Now, there are some people who are for this value-added tax, yes, and you're one of those.
Yes, I agree completely that value-added tax is aggressive. However, I think we're in for tough times. Remember that on the eve of the ANC presidential election, President Zuma hit us with a fee-free education for families earning just below 350,000 combined. Secondly, not only is the fee-free education, but broadly, state-owned enterprises, Comrade Vavi said, are in tatters. So our debt to the GDP ratio are about 55%. So we need funding. We have to get this state moving forward. In that sense, we're asking the budget, we're asking South Africans, all of them, to pitch in. We're not saying that this is going to be permanent. Yeah. As long as we continue holding our publicly appointed people accountable, we should be able to reverse it back over time. Yeah. But we need a very vocal citizenry that will ensure that when in 2019 we select people that understand the economics, that will then be accountable to the people, not to a political party as people have done in the past few years.
But by the time it is reversed, a lot of people would have suffered.
No, it won't be reversed. And I think we must not be delusional. When it was introduced, it was at 10%. Just on the eve of election, the regime, apartheid, moved it to 13%. Now the democratic state is moving it to 15% without zero rating anything any further. So it will never be reversed. This is permanently our baby. And we are being asked, I think your question was so fundamental, we are being asked as the poor to pay for our upliftment. And yet we have been promised a better life for all. And secondly, just to go further, let me just go further to this point. The government cleverly indicates left that we're going to be acting on behalf of ordinary people, the poor, the marginalized. But it embraces programs, policies that makes it to tend to the right-hand side, to reinforce the domination of the economy and society by the upper classes and the property class. That's what this entirety of this budget should tell us. The intervention, VAT, reinforce that even further. So government says to us, we're going to give you free education. It knows that it is not free education because the 22 billion rands that are going to be raised through the VAT are directly forming part of the overall 36 billion rands that government have raised in order to help pay for that so-called free education. It's a typical example of robbing Paul, who is poor, in order to pay Peter, who is the poor at the same time. The VAT is going to have a ripple effect. It's not just going to be about you feel it when you go to purchase goods. You're going to get you're going to start getting SMSs from your cell phone company, from Telkom, from your everything.
Exactly what I wanted to talk about, because one would think that this only affects your consumable products like your food and such. But as you say, communications companies have raised their tariffs as well.
Well, it's a value-added tax on goods and services. That's what it is. So that's really what it's trying to do. I think what one says that Comrade Vavi's comment is that I'm very disappointed that he's not reimagining a new regime, that he thinks that the fact that with the ANC, that there's no possibility that the economy becomes a political issue. And in that regard, parties really that are progressive reemerge in that process, really then we fight economic issues.
His point is that is happening at the expense of the poor.
Yeah, but I'm saying the power is there. We all have power. We all have learned in 24 years that a state that promises this and go that way, we all have heard that, a regime that's very corrupt and nothing changes, that when does South Africa start having a voter vengeance, whereby we'll select parties that are able to talk to those issues, Comrade Vavi?
Well, I hope so. One day the South African public will learn that politics is what we have to deal with every day. And will learn in particular that all political parties serve a particular ideology, a particular class in society, and that it is not automatic that particular political parties will serve particular classes. This is about their ideological makeup, and this is what we are dealing with here. Yeah. We're dealing with an ANC that have now fully been hijacked by the upper classes ideologically, that serves the interest of those who can afford more corporate income taxes that this budget doesn't even touch. The contribution of corporate taxes have been going down, deliberately driven down, as part of an ideology that says, for us to grow this economy, we've got to create the best of conditions for the upper classes to invest, and even if it means we must be punishing the poor, the marginalized, the unemployed.
But do you really not think they probably see that? I know we'll have the ANC in studio with us here on Wednesday on the very same issue, but because we've heard the communications minister coming out last week saying that they are looking at increasing the list of the zero-rated products. Are they not realizing that this will kill the ordinary people? It's
only because there's a backlash, because we're now threatening strikes and all of this, that they suddenly remember there is something called a zero-rated list, and we must scramble to try and find what more we can zero-rate. The bus have left the station. Unless the parliamentarians, and believe me, I've seen the parliamentarians endorsing worse things than this, unless they can grow some political spine and say to the treasury, go back to the drawing board, we don't agree with the VAT, look at other forms of taxes that the rich can afford to pay instead of targeting the poor. Right. I don't see these parliamentarians doing that, frankly.
How do they do it when they're the ones that they've stolen from the people? That is why you're having the Zondo Commission of Inquiry, is to say, because these people that are sitting there are conflicted. They're conflicted, and hence they can't make those decisions. That is why we're asking, really, South Africans to cooperate on this matter. The state is weak, the institutions are weak, a business is much stronger, is much better position. That's why I was saying maybe part of the reason is to stimulate them to invest more, and hope by Comrade Vavi that through a growth-oriented strategy, we can be able to absorb those jobs and redress some of the issues that we've highlighted.
All right, we've run out of time, unfortunately.
We've waited for 24 hours for this to happen. Yeah. Instead, we're sitting with 36% unemployment. We've become the most unequal society in the world. We are sitting with 55% of our population in poverty, waiting for business to trickle down the benefits to our
direction. And we also are sitting with a stagnant economy. There's no growth at all.
The growth is on its way, but the growth will only come in if everyone pitches in.
All right. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much to SAFTU's SG Zwelinzima Vavi and political economist from the School of Economic and Business Sciences at Wits University for giving their perspective on VAT increases. As I said on Wednesday, we'll have COSATU President Dumo Dlamini in studio with the head of economic policy at ANC, Enoch Godongwana. So this discussion, of course, we'll be taking it further here on the very same show.